Jason, and I'm here at the Monsanto March in Philadelphia, PA, and as you can see, the people here around us, and people are sick of it. People are sick of our food being poisoned. We're sick of our kids having autism and all kinds of other issues because of the poison in our foods, and it's time to say no. It's time to rise up. It's time to get going and resist. Because if we don't resist, then we're just all going to die. I mean, they're constantly poisoning us, the air, food, water. And we are at the Monsanto protest. Now, can you tell a little bit why you're out here today?
Yes, I'm out here today because I heard about Indian farmers committing suicide because Monsanto demands that they use their seeds, and the seeds that they're using yields them no crop. Unfortunately, because of the neo-colonial leadership of the Indian government, the leadership doesn't care that those farmers, are not yielding as much as they did without using the Monsanto imposed seeds. So I'm just against what Monsanto is doing. This is colonization of Mother Earth, where not only are you colonizing land, but you're colonizing the seeds that come from that land. And say if you don't use this seed, then you're punished or you're worthless. This is, again, World Bank imposed colonization that has to be resisted.
Now, what do you think, as far as our food being basically poisoned, the bees are dying off, chemtrails are being sprayed, the water's messed up, what do you think as far as Monsanto is concerned? Do you think that we can will into existence the possibility of it being stopped, or what?
Yes, as long as the people come together. This is the biggest test we've ever had. There's been scientific research showing that There's been scientific research showing that basically the cytochromes inside the cells are being destroyed by these GMO products, particularly cytochrome 450, which is what we need in order to have healthy cell function. So there's an agenda going on.
Is the agenda to depopulate the planet?
I believe so. I know it's an agenda to rely on the pharmaceutical industry.
That's true.
To buy pills and to buy everything, because that's the whole point of the seed. I mean, that's the PR version of Monsanto's reason for using the seed, is that you're going to use the Roundup. And so by using the seed, you're going to have to use the Roundup. But it's not fertile. It's not something that yields in any meaningful way, especially for Indian farmers. Right. So we're faced with the question of, okay, what's the real reason? That's the PR reason for Monsanto. Yes, I think there is some agenda to depopulate the planet here going on that has to be stopped.
It will be stopped. Thank you, my friend.
Sure, you're welcome.
And I'm here with today
Deb.
Deb, how are you, Deb? And you're here to fight against Monsanto. Your name is, ma'am?
My name is Liz.
Liz. Okay, and your friend? How are you, sir?
Hi.
How are you? So, what's your main goal today? What do you want to see happen today?
Well, first of all, I want us to have the ability to have choice and labeling. That's number one. And really, choice is not even an option. There shouldn't be any genetically modified food, in my opinion.
Now, do you think that there's an agenda due to this Monsanto bit?
Absolutely. There always has been since the beginning of their company.
You think it's to depopulate the planet?
No.
You don't think it's to depopulate the planet?
I think it's to have control of the market.
So you think that if those who have control of the food have control of the people? So yeah. So do you think that it can ever be stopped? That Monsanto? I hope Monsanto can be stopped. But do you think that Monsanto will ever be stopped?
They're a big company, but if people speak up enough, I guess yes, they can.
Okay. Monsanto rally. How are you, sweetheart? What's your name?
I'm good, Natalia.
Natalia, how's it going, Natalia? Now, why are you out here today?
I'm out here. I was past a flyer on the way by, and I figured I'd come and see what's going on. And I've heard about Monsanto through culinary school about the genetically modified soybeans. And
you think the government has the right to tell us what we can and can't put in our body, or no?
I believe that they don't have the right to say what we can or cannot eat or put in our bodies. I mean, we're supposed to be a free country, so.
All right, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Or away from the farmers that are producing our food, that are putting food on our tables, and we take power and we fight corporations that are trying to peddle unsafe foods to consumers. And at the top of that list is, sorry? All right. At the top of that list of corporations that are trying to take power away from our farmers and our consumers is a small company named Monsanto. Have you guys heard of it? Yeah, not good. Who here thinks Monsanto isn't great? I expect more than that from you guys. Who here strongly dislikes Monsanto? Once more, who's ready to march against Monsanto today? Yeah. All right. So Monsanto has grown from being a little-known chemical startup. It started in 1901, actually. And they were largely involved in, as I said, the chemical industry. And they're still at heart a chemical company. But they've grown over the past few years to be a chemical company that's tampering with our food system. That's toxifying our food system. They're trying to integrate their chemicals that they've been using for decades. They're trying to pass these chemicals off as integral parts of our food system. Stuff like Agent Orange. Do you folks like Agent Orange? I don't. And Roundup. I don't like Roundup either. And what's worse is the U.S. State Department is actually giving Monsanto cover. Food and Water Watch just came out a week or two ago with a new report. We looked through all the WikiLeaks documents that had been discovered by WikiLeaks, that the State Department cables that came out a few years ago, and we looked through all those cables that the State Department was using to communicate with other countries, and we found numerous incidents of the U.S. State Department frequently dissuading other countries from moving away from bioengineering corporations like Monsanto, and in some cases actually actively persuading these other countries to rely on these corporations more. So, as I've discussed, Monsanto is a really evil company, and I think our strong showing here today is evidence of that. And thank you, everyone, for coming out. But now, here in Pennsylvania and in states across the country, while we know Monsanto is evil, we're putting forward a really common sense piece of legislation, piece of policy, that even those folks who don't know that Monsanto is evil, that they can agree with. It's called labeling genetically engineered food. Have folks heard of it? Yeah. And here in Pennsylvania, we introduced just a couple of months ago legislation to label genetically engineered food. State Senator Dalen Leach, who I'm about to introduce, was the author of that legislation. And this is common sense public policy that everyone can agree with. Over 90% of Americans believe that genetically engineered food should be labeled. And that's what we at Food and Water Watch hope everyone here leaves today with is that we need to take action to pass legislation in Pennsylvania, in New Jersey, in states across the country that will require labeling of genetically engineered food. Because while everyone here hates Monsanto, unfortunately, it's hard to vote with our dollar on this thing because we don't even know if the food that we're buying at the supermarket has genetically engineered organisms in it or does not have genetically engineered organisms in it. unless you're buying pretty much purely organic. So that's what we're calling for today, is that we pass legislation to label genetically engineered food here in Pennsylvania. Yeah. And I'm going to give you 3 things that you can do today to help move that process forward. One is we've got petitions going around asking our state senators and state representatives to support the legislation to label genetically engineered food. Please sign those petitions. The other is that you call them up. Calling up your state senators and your state representatives and really any of your elected officials is a much more powerful way is one of the most powerful ways of influencing them. So call them up, let them know. And then the third thing is that, so can everyone who has a cell phone take out their cell phone? I'm not going to ask you to call. It was Mother's Day last week. I forgot to call my mom to wish her Happy Mother's Day. No, I'm kidding. I didn't. But you can text label to 69866, and it'll automatically generate a message to your state senator. That's label, LABEL, to 69866. And it'll automatically send a message to your state senator. So please do that. And so without further ado, one of the champions of our movement is State Senator Dalen Leach.